So I saw the little Switch 2 reveal slash teaser the other day, and honestly, I don't really have too much to say about it because it was only like 2 minutes long at most. There were rumors in the days leading up to the reveal that the reveal was going to be on the 16th, but I was like, watch this be complete fucking bullshit like so many other Switch 2 rumors have been in the past. I'll believe it when it happens, and lo and behold, it actually happened on the 16th. So I guess I should feel stupid, but at the same time, do you really blame me? We had those Switch Pro rumors emerge like what, only a year after the OG Switch launched? And that ended up amounting to nothing. I know COVID likely threw a wrench in the Switch Pro's development. Nintendo canceled the Switch Pro and then moved on to focus solely on the successor. But then we began to be bombarded by Switch 2 rumors. Some may have had some credence to them, but there were a whole lot of others that were complete fucking bullshit, made up by people who wanted 10 minutes of attention. So I'm sure it is understandable why I didn't want to keep up with all of that and immediately dismissed any Switch 2 rumor. It's better to immediately be skeptical of a rumor than to be hyped by an unfounded rumor and then be disappointed when said rumor ends up not being true. Anyway, I gotta say, I did like what they showed. First off, the Switch 2 is bigger than the OG Switch. Part of what made me avoid the Joy-Cons were that they were too fucking small for my hands. I have big hands, so I never found the Joy-Cons to be very comfortable. The first time I ever played on a Switch before I owned a Switch myself was in high school during the morning before classes began. There was this kid who was part of our friend group who would bring his Switch sometimes, and we would play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe together, and that was a lot of fun. And that was only like a month or two after the Switch launched, so it was brand new at the time, and I was really interested in experiencing what the console was like. And the first time I played on his Switch, I was using one of his Joy-Cons, and despite having a lot of fun, I was also immediately like, yeah, this is kinda awkward for me. Now, I'm used to playing on more conventional controllers, so even if my hands were smaller, I would likely still feel awkward using a single Joy-Con. But even still, I wasn't much of a fan of how my hands would swallow up the Joy-Con, so I am happy that they are bigger now. Or at least I am happy with those with bigger hands who use the Joy-Cons, because me personally, I never play on my Switch undocked. And on top of that, I never play with the Joy-Cons. I play with the Pro Controller. That is my preferred Switch experience. And of course, you know, the Joy-Con sticks are incredibly susceptible to drifting, so there's another reason why I avoid the Joy-Cons. And here's another thing about the Joy-Cons they showed in this teaser. You don't slide them in at the side anymore, you snap them in instead. Which kinda concerns me because whenever I do undock the Switch, as rare as it is, I pick the Switch up by the Joy-Cons. I hope they don't snap off too easily if you hold it by the Joy-Cons or pick it up by the Joy-Cons. I would hope and imagine that Nintendo has this in mind, considering that, you know, no doubt a lot of kids are going to own this and not be careful with it. They may be outside holding their Switch by the Joy-Cons, and then their Joy-Con snaps off and their Switch falls on concrete. I would hope that there is some workaround that doesn't make the Joy-Con snap off easily, but you never know with this company. Anyway, slight concern aside, here's something else that I really like about the Switch 2. The stand. Oh my god, it looks so much better and should have been the stand the OG Switch came with. The OG Switch's stand was this little plastic piece of shit that was stupidly easy to break off. This stand is much bigger and looks a lot more durable, so A+ from me in that regard. It's also going to be backwards compatible with OG Switch games, which, thank fucking god. There were some rumblings that the Switch 2 wouldn't be backwards compatible with the OG Switch, and I found that to be so fucking asinine. This console seemed like it wasn't going to stray away from the OG Switch at all, and that ended up actually being the case, so I saw no reason why it wouldn't be able to play OG Switch games. But thankfully those were just bullshit rumors we could add to the already enormous pile of bullshit Switch 2 rumors. And that's all I really have to say about the console itself for now. I mean, not much was shown, it was just a brief teaser. There's going to be a Nintendo Direct in April that I assume will go more in depth about the console, its specs, and launch titles, I'd imagine. But I want to go over some dumb discourse I've seen in the comments under the teaser. This is just more of the same. Nothing about this new console excites me. Yeah, this is more of the same, and I think that is perfectly fucking fine. This is pretty much a beefed up Switch, and that's all I really wanted this console to be. I don't expect this console to be a smash success like the OG Switch was, and that's also perfectly fine. The hybrid console concept isn't new and exciting anymore. It's been 8 years since the OG Switch launched, and now we have other products that do pretty much the same thing, like the Steam Deck. And that's not me ragging on this console, that's just me saying the concept is fine exactly as it is. Nintendo doesn't need to add some new wacky gimmick, just build upon what is already there. And I am sure Nintendo was very hesitant to add some new wacky concept for the Switch 2 because look at the Wii U. The Wii U's concept strayed pretty far away from the Wii's original concept. Yes, there was still motion controls, you could still use original Wii controllers with the Wii U, but the big gimmick with the Wii U was the gamepad. Look, the gamepad and your TV can work in tandem, even though a lot of games didn't even utilize that. And people were like, what is this Fisher-Price looking bullshit? Is this just an add-on for the Wii? I'll skip out on this. And this is coming from someone who liked the Wii U even more than the Wii, but facts are facts, and the facts are, unfortunately, the Wii U was an abysmal failure. So the less the Switch 2 harkens back to the Wii U, the better. And even if the Switch 2 doesn't sell as well as the OG Switch, which will almost certainly be the case, it is still damn near guaranteed that this console will be a success for Nintendo regardless. Because they hit home run with the home console handheld hybrid concept. It's not a gimmick that's going to die out in a few years like motion controls were with the Wii. It's not a gimmick no one cared for like with the Wii U. Before the Switch, Nintendo's handhelds were always more successful than their home consoles. And with the Switch, you get the best of both worlds. For those who enjoy the home console experience more, it's a home console. For those who enjoy the handheld experience more, it's a handheld console. So it's a no-brainer why people gravitated towards the Switch in droves, and they're almost certainly going to do the same thing with the successor. Perhaps not in exactly the same quantity, because again, the concept isn't new and exciting anymore, which is what the OG Switch had going for it, but again, that is perfectly fine. So for you, the Switch 2 may be boring, but for me, the Switch 2 is exactly what it needs to be. A Switch with some bells and whistles added to it. I just hope that this console will be capable for even longer than the OG Switch was able to be. That doesn't mean I expect the Switch 2 to be on par with the PS5 or anything insane like that. In terms of hardware specs, Nintendo has not been competitive since the GameCube. But I don't want to see the Switch 2 only get a few years of decent third-party support, and then the third-party support begins to peter out because third-party devs begin to make games that are too demanding for the Switch 2's hardware, and they either completely skip out on the Switch 2, or they're only able to release a stream-only version of their game on the Switch 2, which blech. Or they do release a Switch port, but the port is so fucking broken and unplayable because the hardware can't handle the game, as was the case with, I think, a recent Mortal Kombat game that received a Switch port. And I know what some Nintendo fanboys may say to that. Video games are about the fun, not the specs, and Nintendo's exclusives have never prioritized graphics. They prioritize the gameplay, and again, the fun. And that is fine and dandy. I am not looking for a hyper-realistic Mario game. I want this console to have a flourishing library of both great Nintendo exclusives, which this console will no doubt receive, but also a flourishing library of third-party titles for many years to come. And I don't see what is so wrong about wanting that. Yes, of course, you buy a Nintendo console primarily for the Nintendo exclusives, but a strong third-party library also gives players more games to play on your console besides just your exclusives. Win-win in my eyes. If the specs get revealed and this console is about on the same level as a base PS4, then but for now, I'm crossing my fingers that this console will be at least decent when it comes to the specs department. I hear this console is more on par with the Series S, which still isn't great, but still quite a bit more capable than the OG Switch at least. But that's just another rumor, so take that with a gallon of salt like any other Switch 2 rumor. I am so happy that we are one step closer to finally being rid of Switch 2 rumors, holy shit. So yeah, the Switch 2 is real. I mean, we already knew it was real, but it is still a little surreal to finally see it be revealed. Will I get it on launch day, or close to launch at least? I honestly don't know. I've said it before, but I am not as big of a Nintendo fan as I was when I started this channel. I am mostly a PlayStation guy these days, and I get my Nintendo fix from playing my GameCube. I know that I will get this console someday, but when I will get this console, I don't fucking know. And on top of that, we don't even have an official release date yet, just 2025, and that could easily change to 2026. So yeah, that's where I stand on Nintendo these days, and that's why I am pretty much retired from making Nintendo videos on this channel, besides, special occasions like this. Or if they really piss me off, which this company is bound to do again in the future. But anyway, for now, this is easily the most positive video I have made about Nintendo in the past, 5 years at least. I definitely had more things to say about this reveal than I initially thought because I didn't think this video would pass the 10-minute mark. I may have even more to say when the Direct in April drops and we know a little bit more information about the console and what games are going to come out for the console, but for now, that's all I have to say. Bye-bye.